this is a guide for this is a guide for APS students to install a Ubuntu virtual machine on their school Macs. So Ubuntu is an operating system similar to Mac OS or Windows. It is a Linux distribution. I can run it here. And I will show you how to run it as a virtual machine, which is basically an operating system within an operating system. So this is how you start. I'm just going to demo what the end product of this will be. I actually already recorded this, but it turned out to be 34 minutes long, so I'm going to try to make this one really fast. Ubuntu is the password is just password. Ubuntu is an operating system made by the Canonical group or something like that. This is what it looks like. This is what you'll be installing. Actually, you can use whatever. I'll get to this later, but you can use whatever desktop environment you want, so it doesn't have to look like this. But I will be installing GM3, which looks like this. But anyway, so the first thing you need is UTM, this piece of software here. So I'm going to delete UTM because I'm sound effects. Because I am demoing how to do this. So to download UTM, you need to search up UTM software. So this is Mac's version of a VMware and any of the others. So just press download here. And just wait for the disk image to download. By the way, if your space on your drive is limited, I do not recommend this. To install Ubuntu takes maybe 2.5 gigabytes. 3 is a little much, but so I got mine reimaged early. These have a storage capacity of about 40 gigabytes. A little more actually. Now, I've heard that they're going to try to, by default, uninstall the GarageBand sound library. So then, after that, you should start with 60 gigabytes. Just keep that in mind. So you're gonna open this and open it, and oh, that is odd. Okay. So I'm gonna delete my old Linux distributions. That's interesting. So it somehow found the old file for the for that Linux. But you are going to that should not have. Okay, this is what you should see. So you should see this when you first start it. So you're going to browse the UTM gallery, and I'm going to be using Ubuntu. Now you can use basically any of these. You can at least try. I've had errors installing the Debian distributions. Arch works, but its package manager doesn't work, so you can basically do nothing with it. This really old version of macOS is fun to mess around in. It has a browser that is literally titled Explore the Internet, but unfortunately mouse input doesn't work, so that's a bit of a pity. Don't try to install Windows. you can't, like, I've looked into it. First of all, it'll run really slowly, but again, you just can't. If you press this, it'll just have to be a Windows Insider or whatever. So yeah, you can't. And if you have a ISO image, it will undoubtedly not work because it's for x86 architectures. The M1s are ARM, so there's two major types of chip architectures. There used to be a lot more, which is why you see like this old Mac OS distribution is for PPC. So there used to be a lot more, but now there's just two. ARM/ARM64 or x64 or x86. So your computer, if these M1 is a ARM chip. ARMs are only prevalent in the M1 chips and in Raspberry Pis, which is why there's a few Linux distributions that are compatible with ARM. But you cannot get a x64 operating system running directly on a ARM chip. However, it can be emulated, but that is really slow, so do not try it with Windows. Like, I've tried it with really fast Linux distributions, and it's still ridiculously slow. So do not try it with Windows. It will be painful, if not impossible. So yeah, go ahead, click on this. Click Ubuntu server for ARM, and then click this. I will have a ISO image pre-downloaded. You can press this for an ISO image. However, I've heard this occasionally doesn't work. So in that case, I might try to somehow link an ISO image in my Google Drive, but we'll see about that. I'll put it in the description if I manage that. But I already installed an ISO image. So once you've installed an ISO image, you're going to create a new virtual machine. It's made for ARM, so you can virtualize it, which is faster. Linux. You're going to boot the ISO image, so look for it. It's right there. So open this. You can enable hardware OpenGL acceleration. That's up to you. This doesn't matter. This allows you to have a shared directory between the two operating systems. You don't have to do that. I never figured out how to make that work. And this is just an overview of your past settings. So just save those, and there you go. You have a new operating system. So I'm gonna hit play. And you are going to try or install Ubuntu server. By the way, if you are interested in, if you have any errors, or you are interested in installing either another operating system or another windowing system for the operating system, or installing, okay, I should probably talk about this now. So this is the installer. So just click English, unless of course you don't want to do English. Continue without updating. Just click done for all of these. Leave everything as it is. By the way, I'm navigating with the arrow keys and enter for selection. So now you're gonna press continue, and then just give it your name, the server's name. I'm just gonna call it JVM, though it shortens the the underscore, so it'll turn out as JVM, which some of you might know also stands for the Java Virtual Machine. But anyway, I'm probably going to delete this and install one on my own anyway. So jspitzek is my username, password is going to be password, and then just click done, and then go past all this. None of this really matters. Hit done. Okay, so now it's going to install the system. This won't take it too long. It'll finish. So when it finishes, it'll actually say install complete or something, and a new option will appear to cancel the update, because it won't actually be done loading. It'll be updating everything after that. I find that canceling the update takes about as long as letting the update, it takes almost as long as just letting the update go through. So I'm just gonna let it update, but that's up to you. Yeah, okay, here we go. So as you can see, it says in the top left corner, install complete, and you can now cancel the update and reboot. However, I'm just going to let it update. Okay, so when you see when you see reboot now down here, it is whoops. It is ready. You can also notice it because it says subiquity late run at the bottom here. So you're just gonna say reboot now. So it's just gonna do this. It doesn't actually reboot by itself. So you go up here. These are buttons. You can like pause the VM, restart the VM, shut down and stops the VM. You have a lot of options here. So I'm gonna shut it down, hit play. So we're gonna go, it'll bring us back here, and then we're gonna say boot from next volume, as opposed to try or install an Ubuntu server, and then press enter to select. By the way, if you need help with any of this, you can just ask me. If I can't answer, I'll probably reference you to Aaron. If he can't answer, he might reference Matt. But anyway, so you're going to put your username, for me it was jspitzek, and then password, here's my password. So we'll just give you links to documentation, just a bunch of information. So yeah, so we have Ubuntu. This is an Ubuntu server. Congratulations. So you might be a little confused, to put it mildly. Like, what is this, right? Why? I don't see what I saw before in the first demo, right? Where is that? So, here's the thing about Ubuntu, or any Linux distribution for that matter. It's not like Windows. Windows by default has a windowing system, so it has all of those like Windows, applications, browsers, all that. With Ubuntu, it doesn't have any of that by default. You have to install a windowing system. It literally just has a terminal by default. But it's really not hard. So it's just a few commands. So first, sudo apt install xterm. Xterm is a library. You need to install it for all this stuff. Enter your password. Say to continue, say Y and then enter. and then it'll install it. This one's pretty quick. And then we have our terminal back. So now, to finish the job, we have two options. Sudo apt install lightdm. This will install lightdm, which is a windowing system. You can choose windowing systems here. Or to use GDM3, which I will be using. I prefer GDM3. Say Ubuntu desktop. So I'm going to do that. LightDM is a little, it's a little smaller, so if space is of the essence, then I suggest LightDM, but I'm going to use Ubuntu desktop. Both should work though. So this might take a while. Again, yes, and then, yep. So then, yeah, I'm probably going to fast forward through this. Okay, so we're here now. So this will ask. So what we're doing here, you just say enter here. Doesn't matter where you are up here. You can't actually go down to OK. You just hit enter. It doesn't change any of these. If you are installing LightDM, you'll have an option to choose between GDM3. You might have an option to choose between GDM3 and LightDM. I'm not quite sure about that. Don't quote me on that. But if that comes up, you need to use the arrow keys to go down to LightDM and then hit enter. But if we're here, I'm just going to hit enter. And then we get a terminal on the bottom here. I'm just going to say power off, which is a command to automatically turn it off, because our windowing system is installed. And the next time we boot up, we can see it. But because we were already there, it wasn't visible. So we need to reboot, boot from next volume, and congratulations, you just installed Ubuntu. So yeah, this is Ubuntu. Yeah, not much. Well, actually, there is something to say. I'll get to that. This is how you see your applications. And by the way, if you get this like this two mouse effect, go up, and that gets rid of it. It's just it's a virtual machine thing. So I'm just gonna very briefly go over a couple things. So they have a bunch of open source alternatives to a few things. This is their open source alternative to Microsoft Word or Google Docs. This is their open source alternative to Excel. This is their alternative to PowerPoint. And then they have these two. It's all part of this like LibreOffice collection. And then I think this is their alternative to Office 365. I don't know. I don't really use that stuff too much. It happened again. So one thing you might notice, I'm not going to cover this. I'm not going to cover the operating system too much, but one thing you will notice is that there is no browser. Almost all Linux distributions automatically come pre-installed with Firefox, but because we are on ARM for Ubuntu for ARM, there is not a Firefox distribution for that, so it is not installed. Chrome does not work here actually, But there's another browser called Chromium. It's a weird version of, but how do you install a browser? It's a weird version of Chrome, basically. It's, but it's quite similar. Still made by Google. The reason they made it is quite complicated. I'm not going to get into it. But how do you install a browser without a browser? You need to use the command line. So sudo apt install Chromium, if I can spell just, Chromium-browser. And this will enter your password, and this will install Chromium for you. Now, last time I did this, it got stuck on 20% and then asked me to sign in again. So there are a lot of weird errors that come with this being run in a virtual machine. For example, one of them is if I minimize the window, it often asks for me to sign in again, as you can see. And if I maximize it, it'll do it again. So yeah, it's just because it's running in a virtual machine, there's a lot of weird quirks about it. But yeah, if you need any help, you can just ask me. If I can't help you, I'll reference you to Aaron. If Aaron can't help you, he might reference you to Matt, who you might have to stay late on a Thursday to meet and help you out on, but we'll see. It shouldn't be that severe. Just when you're installing the windowing system, be careful. With great power comes great responsibility, right? With the terminal there, you can really screw up your computer if you, with any terminal for that matter, you can do some messed up stuff. Like it's really not hard to write malware for yourself. Oh, it appears to be done. This is what happened last time. So yeah. So now Chromium's installed. So if I go to applications, it should be on the second page. Chromium web browser. So if you have Wi-Fi, then your VM will have Wi-Fi. It's basically just Chrome, except it has EM instead of an E at the end. But anyway. So yeah, that's that. Have fun when you're powering this down. Use this power off, not this power off. Or you can also say power off through the terminal like this. Whenever you want to start your VM, just always say boot from next volume. So yeah, that's that. Yeah.